Counselor Accents Podcast. Two school counselors who love their jobs. Oh, and they happen to have Southern accents too. Bless their hearts.
I'm Laura Rancorn.
And I am Kim Crumley. And together we are Counselor Accents, two school counselors who are in the trenches with you.
We know what you're going through because we're living it every single day. You look so spunky and put together and fresh as a daisy. And I look
like I ran over a cat.
Yes, it's bad.
And I'm going to be honest with you. Are you wearing my grandma's robe? From here, it looks like it.
It looks like it. Well, I was going to ask you if we could do this in pajamas because I know it's afternoon, but I am ready to be in my pajamas. But no, it's not your grandmother's robe. It is what I wore to school today.
I'm sure it's beautiful, but let me just say, from here, all I'm getting is the sheen that my grandma would wear because sateen was really big in the robe industry then with the little collar there.
Yeah, and it does look sateen. It's not though, but it does look like it in this light.
So. You got a little sheen. It makes me miss my mama with your hair up like that. No, I'm ready to get my pajamas on too, and due to inclement weather, we canceled our PTO.
And soccer's been canceled today too. The sun is shining, which just makes it scarier. I'm gonna be honest.
We know what that means. Sun. Yeah. Coming out. Mother always said they're going to fire up. She said they're going to fire up. They're going to fire up. And it's because the sun's coming out. It's going to fire them up.
Well, we'll be ready. Hunker down. Hope you got your Oreos.
No, so it's all good.
Yeah. So part of the reason why you look fresh as a daisy is because you just received yet another leg lamp award yesterday, or was it yesterday? Time has gotten away from me. So you have received a high honor, and it is school counseling related because it was all about your advisory council. So when I say that you are the specialist on advisory council, I mean it because
I've got the leg lamp to prove it.
Yes. But that's a big deal.
It was a big deal. It was a really big deal. So yeah, it was 230 something schools, narrowed down to 32 schools, narrowed down to 16 or whatever. And then each district, so there were 8, what they call banner schools. And so it was pretty cool. But I have to tell you, you know how you and I get in a situation that is not supposed to be a situation where you lose your composure.
Oh,
that can be a church service, a funeral,
a meeting.
How many times have we sat in a meeting and I mean, we've even gotten in trouble for it. I mean, we're grown women.
But it's those situations, and I know we've talked about it before, where all we can do is apologize because if you told me I will give you $1 million if you could stop laughing, I can't do it. When I'm stuck in that laugh, I can't do it. And you were stuck in that yesterday, and I wasn't there.
No. And so my advisory council, I call that whole thing positive impactors because we're Panther, paws, Panther paws. Get it?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So everybody had little names like that for their program that was up for an award. And so they would introduce it and talk about it a little bit. So this is right before it's our time. And everybody's sitting there in their suits and their dresses. And it's just, all the people are there in the education world. And so the lady is
the state superintendent is there.
It's
big deal.
It's big deal. And so the person's announcing that their project was called Dragon Hooters.
Dragon Hooters.
They were the dragons.
Okay.
And so the woman announced it as the Dragon Hooters. And
hold on. I just need us to let that sink in because I can go 2 ways with that in my brain.
Oh, I know exactly which way I went. Exactly which way I went. And so I was sitting next to our media person and my principal. And I was shaking, and were the tears, that ugly where your face is critched up
and you can't.
There's nothing. I mean, you're just trying not to snort.
Were other people laughing at Dragon Hooters?
Well, I mean, they were kind of looking around because they don't know, was it called Dragon Hooters? And what impactful program is the Dragon Hooters? And so the woman, and so I'm trying to lean over to my principal. You know when you're going to whisper? You know,
yeah. You're the worst. You're the worst.
I'm the worst. Whisper. So I'm going to whisper right in his ear follicles, right in that little orifice of his ear, and tell him I could be part of the Dragon Hooters. Because the Hooters be dragging. And so I'm trying to whisper, that. And he's putting the finger up like, don't you get any closer to me.
Was he laughing? Was he?
Well, he was trying to hold it together, but I'm gone. It doesn't matter. I had crossed over into where if he could have chuckled, he couldn't anymore because I was now embarrassing everybody.
We've so been there.
We've so been there. How many times, how many funerals have I acted like I was having to act like I was devastated.
Yes. Yes.
I was laughing. And there is an old Mary Tyler Moore that you need to go back and watch in which she cannot, she cannot keep it together at a funeral. That's like her thing is she will laugh. It's a real disease. They call it something. I see advertisement where you can take medicine for.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. But I mean, that's real.
Why would you want to? I always say I put the fun in funeral.
Oh my goodness. So I couldn't. It was like one of those moments where if you had told me, you're not going to leave this table alive if you don't stop laughing.
I'd go out laughing.
And it was the way the woman said it. Dragon Hooters. And I'm like, oh, forget my program. I want to be part of the Dragon Hooters. That is one club I can do.
I have
a million things I wanted to say, but I wanted so much to make a funny with my principal and to get him. It was just very sweat was popping out on me because I'm like, if I don't pull it together, the only thing I can say that made me that miserable laughing is right before I went into the funeral home, the man that had been killed by the cow, which is not funny, but they had wreaths with cows in the wreath, like right when you walk.
No,
I swear to you. And I thought I can't, like I have waited, like you had to wait for hours because this man was like well known in the community. So I was like 2 hours in, I'd stood in line to greet the family and I saw that cow wreath and I just thought, why would you put the enemy? But my parents explained to me I'm a grown. This has not been that many years ago, but they were like, well, Kim, he was a cattleman. That's what he did. Other cattle, everybody in the cattle. So they sent him the wreath with the cow. But I'm just like, that's just offensive. But it was funny and very like it's the moment. Like I've got to go up or I've got to say something right now, and I can't pull it together.
Yeah.
Anyway, I won the pageant, if you will, yesterday. And
well deserved.
A banner school. And I don't know. Well, what is so bad is who deserves it is the advisory council. Do you think they got the meal? No. I'm going to do something for them now, but they didn't. But they're the ones who deserve it. So,
well, but you've assembled them and I was going to say that you have led the meetings, but you don't always do that because
I don't even always do that.
So, such a well-oiled machine.
Check our book out. Read our book about it. Yeah. It's all in the book, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All in the book.
Well, we're tired because tis the season where you can see the finish line, but you don't, like we've still got a little bit of a ways to go. And depending on where you are and when you're listening to this, it may be a while before you're ready to cross that finish line. And we're talking about into summer.
Not going on to glory.
Not the cattleman's wreath.
Not the days of the cattleman's wreath yet.
So you have got some tips that we're going to share. We're going to talk about these tips on how to finish well. You've got a better name for it. What's the name?
I just want to say this before we leave the cattleman's wreath.
Okay.
Cholesterol is going to kill me. So I don't know what that cholesterol. So I just need you to, I don't know what that's going to look like, but I need a wreath of cholesterol. Ending the year on a high note.
Ending your year on a high note.
Ending your year on a high note. So I'm going to give you 5 points, and I want you just to shoot from the hip, Laura.
Okay.
So ending the year on a high note, note number 1.
Okay.
Behavior. No, not behavior. Just data. This is my own note, but your note. So talk to me about ending your year on a high note when I say data.
Okay. So I am imagining that a lot of people are thinking, what? Like, I'm just trying to hold my year together. I'm limping across the finish line. But this is one of those things where if you will take the time, throw a sign up on your door that says meeting in progress or whatever, give yourself even 30 minutes to look through your end of the year data. It's not only going to make you feel like we always say that data is the steering wheel of our program. Data drives our program. And so take those few minutes to look at the data, and it's going to help you start well next year. It's kind of the difference between sticking your head in the sand and wondering how your year went and knowing what went well, what you can improve on. So even though it may feel daunting, I'd say take just a few minutes and do it.
So I think we are always have more energy. So we kind of have a goal that we are wanting to, whatever that is, for your year. And so we need to, even if it's no more than a reflection on how well did I did, what could I have done better. But I do like having those real numbers. So if that's not something you did this year, I definitely think it's a good idea. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to back up. And if you don't know what we're talking about, because I don't think I set it up well, but at the beginning of the year, we set those outcome goals. We use our data to set our goals for the year. So when you look at the data at the end of the year, it doesn't necessarily, like, you're not looking to see, did I do it? Did my students do it? I don't want you to get discouraged if attendance was your goal and you said we're going to improve by 5% and it didn't happen. That is not a reflection of your school counseling program. What systems did you put in place? What programs did you implement? It's just helping you see what needs to happen next year. So don't think that if you didn't reach your goal, that it's a reflection of how great of a counselor you are. That's not it. It just is kind of I look at it as, a map at the mall. I know we don't have malls really anymore, but how they used to have those stickers, you are here. And it would just kind of let you know where you are and where you want to be.
That's very good. Very good. How you reel that into that. So my goal this year was a different kind of goal. It was like, we were implementing more of a conscious discipline, for our teachers and for our school. And so with that, I wanted to see what the teachers thought of their student behaviors at the beginning of the year, and not necessarily behaviors that would always be sending students to the office, because usually that's a hard look at. I mean, you can pull up that report and see how many the principal has put in, but I wanted it to be more of a perception of the teacher. So at the beginning of the year, after so many weeks, they had a perception of what I called you've heard me say pissant behavior. It's that behavior that And it could be they cried all the time, or it could be, ADHD, whatever, but their perception of how many they had. And then at the middle of the year, we moved those around. Like, did they think those were in the red, which was the worst, or the yellow, or the green, or, if we could take them off. And so this last week, we have a data room so the teachers could come in and move that behavior data to see. And so that did end my year on a high note, because I could see that now, did I do everything right? And would I do it better? Yes. But it still is holding me accountable and helping me see what I can do next year. So yes, it is kind of like the dot of here, you are here. So 30 minutes, like you said.
Your data collection process and what you've done with data, that sounds like a whole podcast on its own.
And it was very easy, because it was very easy. It was very easy to do because the teachers really were doing it.
Well, let me say this too.
Yeah.
What you're talking about, a lot of that is going to be included in what we are talking about, like at ASCA this summer.
Yeah.
And there's another conference that we're doing this summer that I don't really know if we're allowed to talk about it yet. So I'm not going to say anything, but it's our session at another conference this summer. It's just helping train the teachers on how to take care of some of those things.
Yeah, I'm so excited. We're so excited about that, what we got going. So, okay, Laura, you ready for number 2?
Ready.
All right. Ending the year on a high note, number 2, surveys. I feel like this is another deep one. I wish I'd have gone lighter.
Okay.
But I'm going to go deep one. So
Okay.
surveys for you, giving teachers or administrators or whoever, or your own self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
So how did I do this year?
Okay. Well, let me say that you may not remember this. I know you won't. Well, I don't think you will. This was many, many moons ago. Probably my first year as a counselor. And we got put in a group together. This was back.
I know what you're going to say because you told me this story. Go ahead.
Okay. This was before I even knew you, and back whenever you thought that I was not a nice person.
Still stand by that. Go ahead.
Okay. Somebody had just put out an end of the year, how am I doing survey. And they had gotten their results back, and they were not pleased with the way that their results had come in. And so they were talking about that in our group. That was not the topic of our group, but they were down and out. And you said, oh, let me tell you, I've got a way for you to do those surveys where it's not so much about you as the counselor as it is about the program, and it preserves your feelings. And so I thought, I want to know more about that. But trying to get you to share that is kind of like catching a unicorn by the tail. So I've never seen this survey, but I've always been intrigued, and it did inspire me. Like when I would write surveys in the future, I would try to focus more on the program and how the program can be improved, and not so much on me, because we're all doing the very best we can. If you're listening to this podcast, that tells me that you're wanting to know more about school counseling, and you're wanting to either know what not to do by listening to us, or maybe get some ideas. And either one, it means you're wanting to sharpen your craft. So, yeah. So, you and I had this talk. Well, I'm going to hit the volleyball to you for a second, and then I've got something else to say, but I'll let you talk for a minute.
No, I want a volleyball back to you. But I will say, like, I think our administrator just put a survey out for himself, and I thought that was very brave for him to do that. And then he met with all the teachers and shared the results, and some of them were kind of painful. And so that takes a lot of confidence to do that. And I think you're right. Focusing on your program is better because it is than you. But But I think even a survey that's just like what we have kind of gone to in our district is more of a self-reflect. I mean, we do a lot of the self-reflection. Where do I think I am? What am I doing? And what can I do better? But
Yeah.
I think it's all surprising as to what we are doing. So I think it's ending on a high note. And if it's showing something, if you do it for others to fill out for you and you're down and out about that, maybe it's something you're doing and you're not sharing that you're doing. I find that to be true a lot with school counselors because educators don't know what they're doing. They're assuming what they're doing because they're not telling everybody what they're doing. And I think that might show you what you need to be telling them that you are doing. If you're doing it, you need to tell them.
That is such a great point. And maybe don't look at the results right now because we are all in this. We're so tired. And like I said, the finish line is just within reach. And we're what we call halt, hurt, angry, lonely, or tired, or sometimes the H is hungry. And so we're all in that place right now. And whenever you're in that place, you don't need to make decisions. You don't need to take on more criticism. I guess what I'm saying is when you're not in that halt mindset, you can look at feedback as ways to grow. But when you're in that halt mindset, you look at feedback as I'm quitting and I'm going into something completely different. I'm going to sell swimming pools because I can't do this job anymore. And that's not it.
Like that's what you pulled out?
That's what I pulled out.
Yeah.
Summer's on the brain. I think I could sell a swimming pool or two.
Oh, okay. How about to yourself? So here is another ending the year on a high note. And I like this one.
Okay.
I don't even know what to call this, but it is taking time to, at the end of the year, to give somebody their flowers. What I mean by that is like say thank you to somebody, taking time to do that. And so we talked about this, Laura. It could be writing a letter to a teacher that's meant a lot to you at school or to all your teachers or to a student group that is moving up, maybe leaving your school, whether that's seniors or eighth graders or so things like that, taking time to do those things at the end of the year when we're so busy can be therapeutic for us. And it's so meaningful. Things like that I've done in the past years. Like I will have students come back and I don't even remember doing that or saying that. And it's so meaningful. So taking time at the end of the year to do that. So this year, what I did for our seniors that are graduating. Now, I don't go up to seniors, I go up to eighth grade. But my students who are at my school who are graduating from high school, I had some helpers and we took a picture of them when they were in kindergarten or when, like a picture of them at their youngest in our annual. And then I put that in Canva and then just wrote because it was going to, because it was going to take me a long time to do all of them. I kind of did but they were all individual. Like my message was individual to some point, but they were all kind of looked the same. So I could do them in Canva really quickly, but the message was different for each one. Even if you have to AI some messages or whatever you have to do for some messages, make it as personal as you can. But, and then, just wrap those up for the students to have and take a time. It made me feel good because I could remember those students. So it was kind of fun. And I think it'll mean something to them to see their little faces when they were little. And, I just put something about the school, what they meant to our school and how proud we were and all that kind of stuff. But, you had mentioned that doing that for teachers or for anybody, just taking that time at the end of the year to reflect and thank somebody who's,
Well, I just thought about when you mentioned that idea because I love what you did. It's so special for your students that had graduated and stuff. But I was also thinking about counselors who have 200 students, and how do you do that when you have a lot of students? And I thought, well, you could focus on the teachers because, again, we're all in this halt mindset. What a pick me up that would be for somebody to get this out of the blue note. And I always like to make them specific with something that I've noticed that they do.
Yeah.
And, what a way to end the year with a little, hey, I noticed this great thing. And I love what you said about AI. We have learned how much time and like how AI helps you work smarter, not harder, which is the topic of our other ASCA presentation. I'm really not trying to plug our ASCA presentations. It's just coming up. But anyway, so using AI, and then I know we've mentioned this before, but there are apps that will turn your handwriting into a font. So you can type these letters in your handwriting using AI. So it's like you're not doing anything at all, except you are.
And there you go. And that's a lot. It's so those of you who are not writers or not creative, there is so many helps in Canva. There's so many helps now. So, but it still gets the job done. So that was one of the things I thought of. So I'm down to, we have 5. So this is number 4.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about I'm just going to call it I guess your advisory committee, like end of the year, having a wrap up for that and making sure that you've done that, and making sure that you are really thankful for those people, and that you are building that community with your advisory, and that they're aware of your goals and what you've accomplished and what they've helped you accomplish and all that stuff. So that'll be part of my end of the year high note. All this takes time, but these are good things. So go ahead.
These are just, these build a strong school counseling program. And these are things that you do at the end of the year. But as we're talking about these things, this is such great inspiration for how do you want to start your year? What are those things, when you are thinking about, okay, I want to finish well, you've got to start well too. And again, sorry about this, but you've got to plow your first row straight, which is how we open our growing your program school counseling book. And really, I mean, these things really are just all fitting in. We're very passionate about these things because, we want to do best practice, and we want to do our very best, and we want to help counselors do their very best. And again, if you're listening to this, you want to do your very best, or you just want to laugh at Dragon Hooters. But
it's still funny to me. I'm sorry.
It will always be funny.
I told you that it was Dragon Tutors. Did I end up telling you?
I don't even think you mentioned that.
No, the woman eventually said, "Excuse me, Dragon Tutors," which made me laugh. Even
that's
like they were the dragon, and that was their program. They had a tutoring program.
Dragon Tutors is funny.
Well,
Dragon Tutors is definitely funnier.
Oh, I am like, but Dragon Tutors could be. I'm sorry.
That will be my dinner table conversation tonight, and I'll bet you it'll get a laugh from my 7.
I want it to. I really want it. So you did not see this one coming at all. I'm going to throw something at you that is my number 5, ending the year on a high note, and I am loving this.
Okay.
Clean up, clean out.
Ooh.
Clean up, clean out.
Woo.
Yes, and I have gone into the bowels of my closet, and I am pulling out I don't know what your system tells you to throw away, but we keep ours 8 years, I think, and I keep mine 10, just to be safe. But as it turns out, I may have kept mine 20 or 30 because I've gone into the bowels of my closet. So cleaning stuff out, cleaning my room out, getting rid of stuff that is dated there's so many things in counseling that just is dated.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been very therapeutic to get rid of stuff. So I don't know. That's like I'm ending the year, and I'm just thinking ahead. Like, I don't want to end the year and it just be like I'm running around just trying to straighten up and everything. I really want to focus. Now, I have a big room. And so I divide it into sections like, okay, I'm going to do my desk today. I'm going to do this, everything on this wall, the sink and all the stuff to the next day. And, so that has really, it just feels good. And I know it'll be easier to start my year next year, having cleaned out some of my stuff. What is your thoughts on that?
Well, oddly enough, I was called to the shed today.
Oh,
and that is I was literally called to the shed. And my principal said there are 2 filing cabinets that belonged to school counselors that have gone before me. And she wanted me to look through them and see what we needed to keep. And so I'm throwing stuff away because it's, tests from 30 years ago, like you said, that we don't even do anymore. They're obsolete. And CDs that you put in to download the test data, we don't even do that anymore. So I was throwing stuff away too.
That's what I've been doing. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
This is the absolute truth. I have burnt out 2 shredders. That's the truth.
Oh,
Burnt them up.
I'll keep you posted because I've got stacks for my people to shred tomorrow. So I've got stacks of shredding. So I'll let you know the status of my shredder.
I need you to tell me what kind to get, because the one the school has, I've burnt up.
Ugh.
And then I borrowed one. I burned it up. So go ahead.
Well, I found there were some boys out there that were helping move stuff, and actually they found backpacks of food. And I just thought, I don't want to be that person. And I don't know which of the counselors before me it was, but I'm sure it was those backpacks of food that you send home on the weekends, And I just thought, let this be the inspiration I need not to be that person. And so I went back to my office and looked at the bags of food that I have, the Swiss rolls from Counselor Week and the M&Ms and the Hershey's Kisses. And I just thought, I got to pull the plug on these because
I've got to pull. That's it. It is so hard for educators to throw things away. It is so hard. But let me just tell you, go to an estate sale, any estate sale, the person is gone on to be with the Lord. All their stuff is just drug out into the middle, and people are just going through it. And I'm like, it's so surreal. And I always buy more things to bring home at the same time going, I'm getting rid of all my stuff. So yes, you don't want to leave your stuff for the next counselor to be going, were they on Borders? Were they actually on the show?
Exactly. That reminds me, I was recently asked when I'm going to retire. Like, somebody wants my job, and I was asked when I'm going to retire.
Welcome to my world.
Isn't that insulting?
Younger, so just give it a little time, and it's like, I am not even cold yet. Would you back up? Not that anybody's, knocking down the door to be a school counselor, but
well, this person was, and they want my job, and I'm like, do you see fine lines and wrinkles? No. Maybe.
Okay. Were you wearing that Momo outfit today? Okay.
Now I see it.
Now you see it. So those were my 5, ending the year on a high note. And again, not everybody's at the end of the year, but I think these are things that you can, we're headed that way, whether you are or not. We're to the last few days or whatever.
Crazy.
I know.
Really, somebody counted it down today, and they said, I can't remember, but it's like one hand, 2 hands.
So if you're a month away or whatever, these are things that you can still get started on. So, because it feels like a lot of things, but wrap it up nicely in a nice bow, and don't just leave with your hair on fire.
Yeah. It's going to help you start well.
And you know what we say, start well, plow your first row straight. This will help.
Very good. Any last thoughts?
I had a last thought a second ago, and I was like, I cannot believe I have not told Laura this already, but it's gone now. It's
Oh,
gone.
man.
I'm tired. I know, but yesterday I was going to go out into the shed and get a sprinkler for my grandbabies. And I opened the door, behind the pool, where my shed is, right? So we have, it's been kind of locked up for the winter. So all of our pool stuff is in there, and the kids' stuff is in there. And so I go to open the door slowly, thinking that there might be a wasp nest. No, there was you know what I'm going to say, a snake that fell, I guess, on the ledge of this little shed thing, and it fell plop right there at my feet. And
What did you do?
I screamed, and the only adult was am I lying when I say he's 6'7", weighs 300 pounds, football player, nephew, who is a grown man and a principal now. And I'm like, Trent, I don't know why I turned into that automatically. Snakes do that to me, and mice. And he's looking at me going, he was just as afraid. So we just looked at it until it crawled back in. Because neither one of us would do anything about it.
I promise you, if I'm lying, I'm a dying. But I got home yesterday and nobody was in my house, but I knew everybody was here. I walked out onto the back porch where JC had a rake, Ellie Blair had a shovel, and Victoria Bell was just kind of jumping around. I said, what is going on? A snake had gotten caught. We have some netting out in the back to try to grow grass. Apparently, netting grows grass. I don't know. And a snake had gotten caught in the netting, and JC was working on it like a surgeon. And I said, are you killing it? And he said, no, it's a good snake, which I think the only good snake is a dead snake. But he said it keeps the bad snakes away.
It does. It does. So, you don't kill the good snakes. They kill the poison.
It got in there and it flopped around to where it was so wrapped up in that netting. And so he was trying to hold it down and snip that netting off of it. And Ellie Blair was like, bash its head in with the shovel, Dad. And
I can hear Ellie Blair saying it, but he's like a science teacher, so he's all about
he's trying to salvage it. Yeah. So he got it to the point where it looks like it's wearing a winter scarf. It has enough netting around. And I know this because it's still in our backyard. I told JC, it is like a bad country song for snakes because it got caught in the netting, couldn't get out. I'm pretty sure he punctured it with the rake and snipped it with the scissors, trying to get it loose. Every time he would get it a little bit loose, it would wriggle back in.
And let me just say, wearing the ascot, let me just call it the ascot that the snake is now wearing. I don't know if he may be loving his new life, or maybe being mocked by the
Well, he is now. I came home and I said, where's your snake friend? And JC said he has gone under the lawnmower. So he said, I went out there to move the lawnmower and it fell on him. And so it's like this.
Poor snake
can't catch a break.
You're trying to save the snake and you're killing the snake.
We're killing it. And that's what we do around here. But the snake, when I looked outside the window, I could see him under the lawnmower, belly up. And I said, I think it's time. JC insists, no, he's alive. He's just got his ascot on. But
you're poor animal that is unfortunate enough to land on your property, ever land on your property.
Well, did I tell you?
You win on the snake story.
Did I tell you about all of the animals that have been coming up? Like Ellie Blair, did I tell you about her?
No.
She is the animal whisperer, and she has this little car that she rides around the house. Every time she rides past the living room windows, I kid you not, I've got pictures to prove it. She has a new neighborhood animal in the passenger seat of her car. So the other night, it was like 9:00. She had already had her bath. 2 dogs came to our big window in the living room, and they're barking like crazy. And of course, we've got the Helen Keller dog who's deaf and blind, so he doesn't hear them, thank goodness. But she heard them and she said, "Oh, it's Bobo Bear and Lola," which she's named them. Those are not their actual
I
names.
got you. Okay.
She runs out on the back porch. They come running up, wagging their tails. She bends down, hugs them. They're licking her face, and then they run off like they had just come to tell her goodnight.
They had come to say goodnight.
Mm-hmm.
She is the animal whisperer.
She is.
That is hilarious. I have seen her with animals in the car, in her little car, and it is hilarious. But just thinking about just picking up strange animals and putting them in the car with them to give them a spin.
Just
I just
imagine
don't know
my
if she's gonna
face.
mascot snake, but if she
Oh,
does,
next, yeah. Just
please
imagine
do.
my face as I'm sitting there on the couch and I see her whisk by with a black cat. We don't have a cat. We've never had a cat.
Who's in there with her?
Uh,
I'm just picturing little old people, little old women in there with her, just
who
different
knows?
things in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a character. She is a character.
She's
I love it.
you, made over.
She is my child. She is my child. I love it so much. But I have more snake stories. Please ask me to tell those later.
Oh, okay.
I will
I
not
will.
regale, but I would like to share more snake stories later.
If I think about it, I will post a video of the snake getting caught in the net because I did
Please.
take a picture of it. And I'll go see if I can take a picture of it belly up under the
Or animals
lawnmower.
that y'all are driving around from the neighborhood.
Or that, yeah. I'll post that too.
Anything.
All right. Well, you can follow us on Instagram. You can like us on Facebook, and you can sometimes watch these on YouTube, but I don't know if you'll be able to watch this one or not since I'm in Kim's deceased grandmother's gown.
It's too painful.